welcome back to my channel. I am your host Mohsin Ali and you are watching Global Scope News. If you are new to channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any update. Today we have a big story to talk about something that is shocked Washington DC and left people talking. We are diving into the explosive movements from the final hearing of the House Task Force investigation assassination attempts against former President Donald Trump. Stick with us as we break down the heated exchange between the Fallon and the acting director of the Secret Service, Ronald. Rowe. The final hearing of the House Task Force that was investigating that attempts to assassinate Donald Trump turned into something unexpected and shocking. It happened on Capitol Hill during a meeting that was supposed to be focused on the safety and protection of the former president. Instead, it became a screaming match between a Republican congressman and the acting head of the U.S. Secret Service. Things got heated fast, with accusations flying and tempers flaring. The argument began with Pat Fallon, a congressman from Texas, started questioning the acting director of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe, about a serious failure in the agency's protection efforts. The incident Fallon brought up happened back in July during an event in Butler, Pennsylvania, where Donald Trump was speaking. According to Fallon, there was a significant lack of proper security and coordinations that put Trump's life in danger. This was something that needed an immediate explanation from Rowe. But the situation quickly escalated beyond a simple exchange of facts. Fallon didn't stop there. He shifted the conversation to another incident, the annual September 11th Remembrance ceremony held at Ground Zero in New York City. A large image was shown during the hearing, one that displayed Roy standing behind then candidate Donald Trump, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Trump's running mate Senator J.D. Vance. The image is very clearly showed Roy among the top officials, and Fallon pointed this out, putting a red circle around Roy's face, implying that something unusual might have happened that day. This led to confrontations. Fallon immediately asked Roy about the security role he played at the ceremony, especially asking if Roy was the special agent in charge, SEC, of the detail during that event. Roy's response was not what Fallon expected. Roy explains that this special agent in charge was not in the picture, and that was not the sack of on that day. Fallon didn't buy it. He pushed for a straight answer and repeatedly asked if Roy was in charge of security at the event, trying to get Roy to clarify this position. At this point, things took a sharp turn. Roy clearly agitated, raised his voice, and responded, explaining that he had been at ground zero on 9/11 as a first responder. He mentioned that he had been there in the aftermath of the attack, going through the ashes of the World Trade Center. He emphasized how significant that day was to him and how he had responded to the tragedy. But Fallon wasn't interested in hearing about Roy's past experiences. He cut him off, demanding that Royce answer the question about his role that day. The interpretation from Fallon only made things worse. Royce shouted back that he was there to pay his respects to a Fallon Secret Service member who had died on 9/11. But Fallon didn't want to hear it. I am not asking you that. Fallon yelled, cutting Royce off again. The two were now shouting at each other, with their voices getting louder and louder. It became clear that both men were no longer interested in a civil conversation. The situation escalated to the point where each man pointed fingers at the other accusation, each other of disrespect and of politicizations the situation. Roy screamed that Fallon was trying to use the 9/11 tragedy for political gain, something Roy refused something Roy refused to tolerate. Fallon in turn accused Roy of trying to avoid responsibility and not answering his question. The task force chairperson attempted to regain order by banging the gavel. But these efforts were largely ignored as the argument continued to spiral. In the midst of all the cause, Fallon made serious accusations. He claimed that Roy's presence at the September 11th event had actually put the lives of President Biden and Vice President Harris at risk. According to Fallon, Roy's presence at the ceremony had caused a disruption of the security detail, putting agendas out of position and making them less effective. Fallon turned to practical questions, asking Roy if he was carrying a radio or a weapon that day, which Roy had not responded to in a way. Roy, still visible frustrated, responded that the way only there to honor the victims of 9/11 and the Secret Service member who had died in the line of duty. He repeated that Fallon was out of line and was questioning him unfairly. As the confrontations grew more intense, Roy made it very clear that he had been there to show respect and had not intended to put anyone in harm's way. Fallon, however, was admit that Roy had made a serious mistake by attending that event for what he called a vanity project. An effort by Roy to appear visible and audition for the permanent job of Secret Service Director. After the hearing ended, Fallon continued to accuse Royce to starting the argument that of failing to answer the questions. He emphasized that Roy had not properly coordinated with local law enforcement during the incident in Butler, Pennsylvania, which had allowed a shooter to get into position and endanger Tom's life. Fallon argued that Roy's actions had endangered lives and that the Secret Service had failed to perform its duties. The Secret Service, on the other hand, responded by defending Roy's actions. They said that he had been invited to the September 11th ceremony to pay respects to the victims, including the Secret Service agents who had died in the attack. The agency insisted that all personnel were present and had complete access to the protectors during the event. They also responded to Fallon accusations by saying that the agency had fully coordinated the protective measures during the Butler rally and that any incident during the event was a result of a lack of coordination from local law enforcement. As the hearing came to the close, the task force moved forward with their business meeting to discuss their final report on the investigation. The report had already revealed that the Secret Service had failed to properly coordinate security effort in Butler, Pennsylvania, which allowed the shooter to get into position. The shooter had attacked Trump and killed a rally attendee before being shot and killed by law enforcement. In conclusion, this final hearing of the House Task Force investigating the assassinations attempt against Trump ended in a dramatic and explosive confrontations between two powerful figures. The argument the argument between Fat Fallon and the acting director, Ronald, Rowe, was a spectacle that overshadowed the serious issues being discussed. The finger pointing and hated words exposed a deep divide and frustration within the political and law enforcement world. The investigation's funding will undoubtedly shape the future of the Secret Service. Operations and men. Operations and may affect the safety measures taken to protect future political leaders. This is this has been an intense story, and we have just scratched the surface. So, if you want to stay updated on all the latest political news and investigations, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any update. Thank you for watching Global Scope News and stay tuned for more updates. Until the next video, Take care.